The story of creation is unique. It all starts with Jehovah God speaking the words, "Let there be light." And just like that, light appeared out of nowhere. It's as if those simple words had the power to make light exist. Now, you might think this sounds unbelievable, but let me tell you, it's not as far-fetched as it seems. Humans, in their own way, can get surprisingly close to this kind of power. Imagine someone who can't see any way to improve their life. They feel stuck in a dark place, unable to imagine a better future, whether in their health, finances, or overall well-being, both materially and spiritually. They feel lost, trapped in a state of darkness with no light in sight. Now think about yourself stepping in to help. You share your own experiences, and maybe you include some uplifting stories from others. As you weave these stories together into a powerful message, something incredible happens. The person you're talking to starts to see a glimmer of hope. They might even say, "I can see now. Before you came into my life, I was blind and lost in the dark." Your words and the stories you share have the power to bring clarity and light to someone who couldn't see a way out before. While I was thinking about this, it struck me. Can people really create light using their intelligence and words? The answer is yes, absolutely. Let me tell you about this incredible power we have as humans simply by talking to each other. It's amazing, filled with so much potential and strength. Whether it's a mom talking with her daughter, a dad having a heart-to-heart with his son, or a salesperson connecting with a customer, there's nothing more magical and impactful than words. They have this extraordinary ability to change lives and shape futures. Words can truly work miracles. That's why communication is so vital. Words can work miracles. They're powerful, and their power is almost godlike. In fact, ancient texts say that the Word was God, and God was the Word. Isn't that mind-blowing? Words and God being one and the same? That's why becoming a good communicator is so crucial. Now, let me share some valuable tips on how you can achieve effective communication. First and foremost, communication starts with having something good to say. It's not just about talking. It's about making sure that what you say is meaningful and worthwhile. This requires preparation. You need to get ready to express yourself, not just for this year, but for the years to come. That means investing time in learning. Take classes, read books, and expand your knowledge so that you have something good to say. Something that can make a positive impact on others. Now, let me introduce you to 4 powerful words that can help you develop something good to say. The first word is interest. This means developing a genuine curiosity about people in the world around you. Take an active interest in what's happening, whether it's in economics, politics, religion, social issues, or new opportunities that are emerging. By building a fresh interest in these areas, you'll find that you have more to share with others. The second word is fascination. This takes your interest to the next level. Fascination is about being deeply curious and eager to learn, just like children are in their early years. Think about how much kids learn in their first 6 years. They're constantly absorbing new information because they're fascinated by everything around them. While adults might walk past a line of ants without noticing, a child might stop and say, "Don't step on those ants." I'm studying them. They see the world with wonder and amazement. Have you ever thought about how an ant can carry something much larger than itself? That kind of fascination drives deep learning and understanding. It's the same kind of curiosity that can help you discover new things and have more to say in your conversations with others. The next important thing to focus on is building your vocabulary. Let me share something interesting that some of my friends discovered during a survey they conducted with prisoners who were part of a rehabilitation program. They weren't initially looking for this connection, but they found it anyway. There's a clear link between a person's vocabulary and their behavior. They noticed that individuals with a limited vocabulary tended to have more behavioral problems. If you think about it, this makes sense. Words are like lenses that help you see and understand the world. If you don't have a strong vocabulary, it's like trying to see with blurry vision. Now imagine the kind of mistakes you might make in judgment when your view of the world isn't clear. Without a good vocabulary, you can misunderstand situations, misinterpret others, and make poor decisions because you're not seeing the full picture. Next, let's talk about something equally important. Sensitivity. Sensitivity means being able to understand where people are coming from, what they've been through, and what's happening in their lives. This is where sensitivity training comes in. It helps you become more aware of and better understand people who are different from you or who are going through tough times. It's essential to try your best to be sensitive to the struggles and challenges others might be facing. What's going on in their lives? How can you show empathy and understanding? There are 2 great things that were said about Jesus that can help us understand the importance of sensitivity. First, it's mentioned that he was touched by the situations he saw people in. He felt genuinely moved by their misery and hardships. This isn't just about feeling sorry for someone. It's about truly being affected by what others are going through. The second point is that Jesus wasn't just touched, he was moved. He didn't just feel something and then move on. He was deeply stirred emotionally by what he witnessed. If you want to be an effective communicator, it's essential to be both touched and moved. Not just by your own challenges, but also by the struggles others are facing. This is where sensitivity plays a key role in connecting with others and making a real impact through your words. When you're 40 and trying to connect with a 12-year-old, it takes a special kind of sensitivity. You need to be aware not only of where you are in life, but also of where that 12-year-old is coming from. A good way to bridge that gap is by remembering what it was like when you were 12. Take a moment to go back in time, think about how you felt, what you went through, and let those memories resonate with you again. This will help you understand and empathize with their situation, guiding the way you communicate with them. Personally, I don't have any trouble relating to 12-year-olds. I can remember almost every day of being 12. It's a unique time because, for one, you're not quite a teenager yet. I've heard it so many times. You can't go because you're not a teenager. And I used to think, I can't wait for this year to be over. It's funny how people like to remind you that you're not quite there yet. This is where sensitivity comes in, remembering what it feels like to be in that in-between stage where you're eager to move forward, but not quite there yet. Now, let's look at an example from history. The Apostle Paul, who became a significant leader in Christianity, wasn't always known by that name. He used to be called Saul from Tarsus. And surprisingly, he was once a fierce opponent of Christians, even going so far as to persecute and kill them. But after a dramatic transformation, he became known as Paul, the Apostle. So why was Paul so effective in his communication, in reaching people with his words and presence? If you examine his life story, Paul himself explains why he was so effective. He often talked about his past and said, here's why I believe I'm so effective. I remember the dark times I came from. They might call me an apostle now. But I used to kill Christians. And I never forget that. If I want to truly understand other people's struggles, I have to remember my own. I have to let it hurt again. This ability to revisit past challenges and let those emotions rise to the surface is what makes a good communicator, performer, actor, or actress. They can tap into their experiences and bring them forward. In Paul's case, it wasn't just about having a title like apostle. It was about staying connected to the reality of his past. His words were powerful because they came from a place of genuine emotion and experience. This combination of carefully chosen words delivered with deep emotion and authenticity is what made Paul so effective in his communication. Words are a way of showing what's happening inside your mind and heart. Think about it. What if you can't see things clearly and you can't express yourself well? Imagine how tough it would be to live like this for 5, 10, or even 20 years without getting any better at it. Over time, this could turn into a serious problem. Your behavior might start to change, and your world could begin to feel smaller and more confined. Why does this happen? It's because when you can't see clearly and you struggle to express yourself, your world naturally shrinks. It's like the space around you gets tighter and more limited. After a while, you might find yourself feeling like you don't need much more room than a small 10 by 12 cells. Your world feels so confined because your ability to see and express yourself is limited. And this lack of clarity makes your surroundings feel smaller. That's why it's so important to expand your vocabulary. The more words you know, the better you can express yourself, and the bigger your world becomes. When I used to drive a lot, I had a simple method for learning new words. I would write them down on 3 by 5 cards, and at the end of each day, I'd focus on mastering just 2 or 3 of those words. It was a straightforward but effective way to build my vocabulary and keep learning. My oldest daughter, Linda, has a really great routine she does with my grandkids. Every morning, she introduces them to what she calls the word for the day. She writes this word on a chalkboard, and the kids not only memorize it, but also learn what it means. Throughout the day, she'll randomly ask them, what's the word for the day? It's like a fun little game they play together. Linda repeats this question several times during the day to make sure the word sticks in their minds. The idea behind this is pretty awesome, having a word for the day. Why not give it a try? It's a simple but powerful way to build your vocabulary, which helps you see things more clearly, understand better, and express yourself more effectively. When you can put words to what's in your heart, mind, and soul, it becomes even more meaningful. So why not make it a habit to learn a new word each day? It's a fun and valuable way to improve your language skills and in turn your ability to communicate and connect with others. Now let's talk about the next part of being a good communicator. Saying things in a way that really hits home. Here's a simple list of tips on how to communicate effectively. First, you need to be sincere. If you truly want to connect with others, your sincerity should come through in your words. Another important tip is repetition. It's often said that repetition is the mother of skill, and I couldn't agree more. I've been in this field for 35 years, and repeating things has been a big part of how I've sharpened my skills. The more you practice and repeat something, the better you get at it. Next, let's talk about being brief. Sometimes saying less can have a bigger impact. Think about how Jesus gathered his disciples. His message was pretty short and to the point. He just walked around, looked at someone and said, "You follow me." That's brief, but it was powerful. So why could Jesus make such a big impact with so few words? It all comes down to personal development, which is a big part of what we're discussing now. Here's my take on why Jesus could convey so much with just a few words. It's about everything he was that he didn't have to say. Just like Jesus, there might be parts of who you are that can make a strong impact with just a few carefully chosen words. Think about how you can apply this idea in your own life. Whether you're talking to a child, having a conversation with a coworker, or discussing something with a client, sometimes less is more. It's not always about saying a lot. It's about saying the right things in a way that resonates. Now let's move on to the next important part of effective communication. Reading your audience. This might sound simple, but it's a crucial skill. My strength lies in offering clear concepts, and one key concept in communication is being able to read your audience. Imagine you're talking to a child. It's important to pay close attention to their facial expressions and body language. Watch for the little signs that tell you how they're feeling about what you're saying. Are they engaged? Are they bored? These clues help you figure out if you need to change your approach. Maybe you need to be firmer in your delivery, or perhaps you should tone it down if you're coming on too strong. It's like picking the right example to use something that's either soft and gentle or something that packs a bit more punch. The ability to make these adjustments on the fly comes from being good at reading your audience and understanding the signals they give you. This is what helps you communicate effectively in different situations. So how do you get better at reading your audience? First, focus on what you see. Body language can tell you a lot. It gives you clues about when to change your approach, when to keep going, or when to take a pause. For instance, if someone crosses their arms and lowers their chin, they might be feeling defensive or closed off. That's when you might need to dig deeper into your bag of stories and pull out something really compelling. Reading these nonverbal cues helps you understand if the conversation is going to be a bit challenging. This skill comes from observing and interpreting what you see. Next, pay attention to what you hear. Listening is just as important as watching. For example, with children, you can often tell if they're getting impatient by what they say. Kids are usually pretty straightforward about how they're feeling. If they start asking, "How long is this going to take?" within the first 30 seconds of your talk, that's a clear sign that you need to switch things up. Take a moment, listen to their response, and adjust your approach accordingly. Maybe you need to simplify your language, find a more relatable example, or even soften or strengthen your tone. So remember, effective communication isn't just about what you say. It's also about reading your audience by watching what you see and listening to what you hear. This skill will help you connect better and make your communication more impactful. Now, let's talk about one of the most important aspects of communication: reading what you feel. This skill is especially important when it comes to picking up on emotional signals. Interestingly, women tend to be better at this than men. While men are usually good at noticing what they see and hear, they often need a bit of training to pick up on those subtle emotional signals that are so crucial for effective communication. Being aware of the emotions in a situation can help you avoid saying the wrong things, as language mistakes can happen easily. That's why it's so important to develop the ability to read and understand emotions. Let's imagine a situation. You want to ask someone you care about what's troubling you, but instead you accidentally say, "What's wrong with you?" That small slip-up can completely change the tone of the conversation. It's a communication hiccup that could have been avoided by paying attention to the emotional signals. Women often excel at this skill. They have a natural ability to pick up on emotional cues. It's like they have an extra sense when it comes to detecting emotions, especially when it comes to sensing danger. Women often pick up on it faster than men, and I think this goes way back in history. Traditionally, men were the providers, going out to hunt or work, while women stayed closer to home, developing a keen awareness of potential threats. These instincts have been passed down through generations, and they're incredibly valuable when it comes to communication. Let me share an old scenario to explain this further. Imagine there are shepherds, sheep, and wolves, a classic life scenario. But here's where it gets interesting. In this ancient tale, some wolves are so clever that they've learned to disguise themselves as sheep. Now, this is where having a woman around is really handy. A man might look at the situation and say, looks like a sheep, talks like a sheep. But a woman, she'll confidently say, that's no sheep. Trust me on this. She's reading the emotional signals, picking up on what's beneath the surface, and not ignoring the subtle cues. This skill of reading emotions is part of the bigger picture of personal development. It's not just about communication. It ties into everything from understanding others to financial independence and personal growth. Recognizing and understanding these emotional signals can help you improve in all areas of life. So remember, alongside what you see and hear, don't forget to tune into what you feel. It's a valuable skill that can make a big difference in how you connect with others and navigate through life. Now, let's talk about the final piece of effective communication: intensity. When you combine words with emotion, whether it's love, hate, faith, or courage, that's when you really start to feel the power. Words alone can make an impact, but when those words are filled with genuine emotion, they can create an incredible effect. Here's some advice that could make a big difference. Put more of yourself into what you say. Don't be too casual or lazy with your words. Don't be lazy in learning. Just like being careless on the freeway can cause accidents, being too relaxed in your communication can lead to misunderstandings. It's important to put in the effort to learn how to communicate effectively. When you speak, try to incorporate more of your true self into your words. This will not only make your communication more powerful, but also help others connect with you on a deeper level. Now let's think about something important. It's crucial to measure your emotions. They shouldn't be too intense if the situation doesn't call for it. In leadership, there's a saying, don't shoot a cannon at a rabbit. Sure, it might get the job done, but then you've got no rabbit left. The point here is that effective communication involves choosing the right words and pairing them with just the right amount of emotion. This balance is the foundation for positively influencing others through your words. There's another key point about communication. The more you genuinely care, the stronger you can be. If you're a caring mother, that care gives you strength when guiding your children. Similarly, as a caring father, your concern makes you stronger in handling challenges. In leadership, caring deeply allows you to be more effective in solving problems or addressing someone's actions. It all comes down to truly caring. But the key is that you have to really mean it. For example, I'm okay with a minister talking about my soul going to hell because of my sinful ways, but only if he says it with tears, not with joy. If someone is going to preach about hellfire and damnation, they should do it with a broken heart, not a sense of satisfaction. Certain conversations only carry real weight when there's genuine emotion involved. They only matter when your heart is in it. Understanding the right level of emotion to express is important. Remember the tips we discussed earlier. Use well-chosen words, expand your vocabulary, and be genuinely interested in what you're saying. When you combine all these elements, your ability to connect with others will grow stronger over time. Day by day, week by week, month by month, and year by year. Finally, to improve your communication skills, you have to put in the work. Take notes, make an effort, get involved, and don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Gather knowledge from different sources, whether it's journals, notebooks, libraries, videos, or any other resource you have access to. Remember, a big part of effective communication is preparation. The more you know, the better you'll be at getting your message across. Don't be lazy when it comes to learning. Remember, a major part of communication is preparation.